Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are very excited to have you join us today. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us. We've got two amazing leaders alongside me today that are going to bring some really great insights to our topic today. Just to make sure everyone's in the right room, we're going to be chatting how to scale your brand nationally, what it takes to transition from traditional marketing into digital marketing, and how you can really scale your digital acquisition. Before I get some intros going, just some housekeeping items today. Please keep your camera off, your microphone muted, please. We will aim to reserve about 10 minutes at the end of the session, or hour together for any Q&A. So hang on to those questions. That said, we do also want to keep it engaging, keep the flow going as best as possible. These things can get a little bit dry virtually, so we'll try to keep it as fun as possible. So if you do have questions along the way, feel free to pop it into, I think there should be a Q&A button for you. So feel free to pop those in. We'll do what we can to get through them. And with that being said, hi, I'm Danielle. I am VP of Client Growth and Strategy here at Fintel Connect. For those of you who don't know, we are an affiliate marketing solution that allows banks and fintechs to scale their net new acquisition in the affiliate channel cost effectively. So we power the affiliate programs of 90 FinServe brands in North America. And specific to this group, we manage FVC's affiliate program. We've helped drive hundreds of acquisitions and millions of deposits to their HISA product that is powered by Plinqit. So enough about me. I will kick it off to Patricia. Please give us a bit about yourself.
Happy to. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today. So a little bit about our bank. We're a community bank servicing all types, all sizes of businesses and industries and individuals in Virginia, Maryland, and DC. We're $2.3 billion in asset size. We have 8 branches, so we're branch light intentionally. It's the way we've always been set up. We have always tried to grow, from day one. It has been about deposit growth and generating customer relationships to grow in our market area. It's always been about that. I joined the bank when we were an organization just over 18 years ago. So this month, in a couple of weeks, we're going to celebrate our 18th year in business. And our CEO and chairman, David Piger, was the founder of the bank. He still continues to guide our bank with his vision, and it has always been about relationship banking, high service, high performing, and having the products and services of anyone in our market of the larger banks, because that's who we had to compete against when we first started out. So we've been somewhat technical reliant. We've always wanted to use technology where we could. We are branch light, so that's been important to us, and try to be efficient and high performing. That's really our story. It's all about taking care of our customers, and we started out by adding very experienced bankers that know our market, that are fully embraced with the community banking model to help customers and to help drive growth and grow this business as if it's their own.
Thank you. Kathleen, on to you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here this afternoon. And thank you, Trish and Danielle, for joining us. So I'm Kathleen Craig. I'm the founder and CEO of Plinqit. We are a software as a service business. So what we've built that FVC has launched and Fintel helps us market is an end-to-end deposit solution. So you can either use it for a digital brand if you want to go after a specific market segment, or you can use it as a product, right? Many of our banks, in order to spin up a product with the core and their online banking provider and statements and everything, it can be very cumbersome. So we've basically done a digital online only a savings product in a box that you can launch in 8 to 10 weeks. So that's what we do, and that's what we're here to talk about. We just launched it January of last year, so FVC was one of our very first customers. We launched it last year, and by the end of this year, we're going to pass about $4 billion in deposits across the banks we have on the platform. So we're really proud of the growth and really excited to talk about it.
Great. Well, perfect segue. Let's talk about it. So Trish, maybe set the stage a little bit for us. You gave us a bit of a background of FVC, very community focused, branch light. Walk us through the journey from going from that or focus into expanding nationally and doing so digitally.
Sure. So we've always been and will continue to be a community-focused bank, taking care of our customers, offering the best products and services, partnering with fintechs. Especially in the last several years, there's so many products and services out there. So we've been focused on that. What can we offer our customers to give them the widest range of banking services and that personalized service? And at the same time, it has been quite an active external activity in the banking world in the last 5+ years with, when we opened, it was a financial crisis. So we experienced that. That was in 2008, a couple months after we opened our doors. And it's always been about getting the trust of your customer base and growing your deposits and having a very good core deposit base to grow your business in a safe and sound manner. It's always been the focus. And as we've gone through these, oh my goodness, the rate hikes in 2022, over 500 basis points, going from, 0 interest rates and the pandemic where we were all flush with a lot of deposits from the PPP program and all of that. And we had so much liquidity because there was nowhere else for customers to put their money, to go to plus 500% increase in rates in a 12-month cycle and customers moving to treasuries across the industry. There was a lot of money leaving the industry. And so those deposits were very, very important to us to hang on to and to hang on to our relationships and to continue to build that trust. But there was a cost associated with that, with the margins declining, et cetera. And most of all, as a community bank, we're all focused on liquidity and having those safe and sound metrics to grow your bank the way you need to grow your bank. And so we thought we got to expand outside of our market. We want to take care of our customers, but we also need to understand how we can grow without necessarily relying on wholesale funding. And we certainly have that as an option, and it's an important option. But we wanted to be able to diversify our portfolio mix and to offer competitive products and see how to grow outside of our market, get core customers, get core deposits outside of our market. So that was really the impetus for it. It was in 2022 when we started saying we've got good sources of deposits, but we want to be able to plan for unforeseen activity. How can we grow beyond our current market?
Kathleen, is that impetus consistent with your experience with other brands?
Yeah, I think Trish verbalized it so well, what I bet a ton of our banks on the phone have felt in the past kind of 3 years. I remember when I raised my Series A round in 2021 or 22, exactly what Trish was talking about. I called one of my banks and I said, hey, do you want a couple million of this to sit on your books? And the CFO said, oh no, we're flush with deposits. We're good. And 2 years later, he said, never let me say that again, right?
Yeah.
Like if I ever say that nonsense to you again, don't listen. And so, yeah, that's exactly why we built it. So we're really lucky to be a part of the FinTop portfolio. So we have 80 banks as our investors that helped do our Series A funding round. And so when the deposit boom was happening and the need for deposits really shifted, that's why we built this high yield product, right? Because as Trish was saying, these aren't cheap deposits, but again, they are core deposits, right? And just another lever and another addition to that wholesale answer that they also use. So we've had banks launch with us that view themselves as commercial banks. So they really just will take deposits from anywhere in order to fund their commercial lending portfolio. So that's some of our client base. And then some of our client base are very much consumer banks, but they want to be niche, right? Niche. They want to like go after a certain segment, and they want the brand and the marketing all to tailor around that certain brand. So we've had different use cases, but I think all of them are in the same bucket as Trish, which is that, you know, we've got to figure out different levers of deposits to make our bank thrive.
Okay. So, you know, January, you launched this thing, you're set on expansion. What were some of the challenges that you faced as you started to scale?
Well, I will say we looked at several things. I mean, starting in 2022, we looked at several approaches and wanting to make sure, you know, following in 2023, let's not forget, you know, we had some bank failures and where liquidity was, every customer was focused on what's your level of liquidity, et cetera. So, you know, it played right into what we were thinking about expanding is, yeah, liquidity is going to be very important. We started with Raisin. We used them, and we still use Raisin as a source of deposits, but it's a slightly different model. It was quick, a quick way to market to bring in deposits out of market under a different brand, but it's a slightly different approach, and it worked. But when I went to, we've invested in Jam FinTop, a technology fund, and that's where I met Kathleen and heard about Plinqit, and I was incredibly interested because we had already tried this other approach, and I wanted to understand her model and how it worked and how it might be different. So that's really what got us involved and got us interested in that. And we realized this is another way to do a customer acquisition and really find a way to build the trust and maintain these relationships on a longer term basis and not be necessarily price sensitive, although they are higher price deposits. But it was an interesting model and approach, and we wanted to understand the economics of it, et cetera. So that's really that digging in and understanding that better really helped us figure out a new path to follow to see if we could expand our customer base even more.
And I think in terms of challenges, I think Trish would agree that our teams worked really well together to get it going. They knew the name. So a lot of times what takes the longest is the bank just kind of deciding, is this a brand or is this a product, right? FVC was efficient at that. They knew they wanted Advantage savings. They knew they wanted it a product. So they were really ready to go. So we got it up and running really efficiently with our two teams. But then I think where Fintel came in is the marketing. It kind of sat on a shelf, even with their great rate, right? It sat there for a few months, and Trish was calling me saying, is this your experience with your other banks? What is going on? Why is it sitting here? And I said, no, I think we need to put some marketing engine behind it. And I said, and that's when I introduced Fintel, because Trish being a community bank, I didn't want FVC to have to spend a ton of dollars on brand awareness. That's not what they were interested in. They were interested in opening accounts. And so what's really great about affiliate marketing that Fintel does, and Danielle, you can talk about what you guys do, is that it's success-based. So I knew FVC, in addition to just your software, but they would pay for success, right? So they would only pay if the accounts came in. And that was really, really important to them and to me. And so that's I think, the biggest first challenge, and that we've overcome.
Yes. And, you're being very generous about this, Kathleen, because to be fair, we were very reluctant to spend additional money on marketing. We thought, we've got a good product, we've got a name, we're in markets outside of our footprint, and we put a decent rate out there.
Why aren't they coming?
And it took a little convincing that it wasn't growing, so that told us something. It wasn't really working the way we had hoped. And when we got introduced to Fintel Connect, and and understood more about affiliate marketing, we thought we've got to do this. We've got to try this to see. We've made the investment. We've set things up. We're ready to go. And so that made the difference. And it took a little arm twisting for us to get there, but we got there.
Yeah, which was awesome, because then I think our first goal together, we said, okay, this is how much marketing we'll need to spend for 10 million.
Yeah.
And we got there in 4 months, right? And so we were so excited, because that was so we allocated the amount of marketing we needed with Fintel for 12 months to get to 10 million. So pretty conservative again, because we were convincing FVC to spend the money and to try it. And I know that's hard. Again, it's hard for a bank.
Yeah.
And all of you out there, and especially if we have CMOs on the phone, they will totally understand that, right? And fighting for their marketing dollars.
Yeah.
And so we allocated, and then Fintel, I don't know how, so Danielle, you can talk about that, how you hit it out of the park, but somehow you took that and we did it in 4 months. And now what are we at, 160% a goal? Because now we're at over 16 million in deposits on your goal of 10 million. Right. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to recap a little bit. So Trish, you stood up this high yield savings account product. You had a knockout rate, and it sounds like you went to market and perhaps thought, the rate will speak for itself. The people will come. The people didn't quite come as quickly as we wanted them to. Right. Kathleen, for all of the marketers in the room, what secret words did you say to convince someone that marketing dollars need to be won? I think we need to dig into that one a little bit more.
I said steps.
What's the magic words?
I said baby steps. What's the minimum you can spend per month for a year to reach this goal? Like, what would it be worth to you? What would it, I said, if you want 10 million, can you spend just 1% or 0.5% of that on marketing and give us that budget to try? Maybe 0.5%. Let's go for that. And once they thought of it in that way of, oh yeah, like I can spend 0.5% on it. Okay, let's give that a try. Then we got the allocation, and then we called you guys as the experts.
And when I just add, when you step back and look at it, we've done a lot of work in our market to increase brand recognition. We have a marketing officer who's a marketing person. And he's great. And he's helped us with Google Ads and mobile marketing, and we do some commercials in our local market. But we're not a national name. So to go outside our market and to think that somebody's going to see the name of a deposit and a rate and go, I'm going there. There's a trust factor to build and to grow that recognition, or to add those deposits and to get people to come. And I just really wasn't thinking of it. Online banking had picked up, right? Customers, there had been for the last several years, there's a lot of online banking products out there, and they are online banks people are very comfortably opening accounts with those banks. So that's the way I was thinking. How hard could this be? At first,
I love that.
I understand it.
Yeah,
I love that. That's fair.
Well, I think you mentioned a really good piece, which is that trust factor, right? So I think that's where the affiliate channel kind of helped with that piece. So not only did it help deliver from an acquisition and from a deposit generation standpoint, but they were kind of your digital billboards across the web nationally, that you, where you weren't running your commercials locally. Exactly. So they were kind of your credibility enhancements from that perspective. So I guess, what were some of the marketing strategies that you adopted that were not necessarily investments you made when you were not national yet and you were focusing on your local market? Kind of, what were the strategy differences? Was the national strategy undermining anything happening locally? No?
No, no. And that was very important to us. It was incredibly important that we stay committed to our community and serve our community and offer them everything available that we can. and grow that, but still be able to have these alternative sources of funding and potentially grow customers outside of our market, but with a different product. So that was very important to us. And I will say the difference in the marketing strategies we've adopted over the last several years and what we did post with this digital onboarding was Fintel Connect. I mean, it was affiliate marketing. That is the difference. It was not something we had considered prior. And we have seen that it's as you said earlier, you pay for your results. So it's a very transparent process, and it's easy to understand the economics of it once it starts rolling and working. So that was the difference.
Trish, I have a question for you. Because I get this a lot, again, from bankers and again, CMOs who are sold on the idea of going national. And like you said, but they're having those executive discussions about, we are a community bank. We care about our footprint. We care about our community. How do we balance that with expanding into a national brand or even just a national product, right? Because I don't think you'd still consider yourself a national brand, but it's a national, you have a national product. Did you guys have those conversations at the executive table? How do you and your CEO view that? Was there any kind of friction there, or were you guys just all bought into how you could do it?
We did have conversations around it because we definitely didn't want our local customers to say, well, why are they getting, this versus what we're offering? And we worked through it a couple ways. One, we knew we were going to have a separate branding for this product, and we were going to work with professionals and partners that would help walk us through that, and knew what was important to us. That's the other piece. And with shared values, understand what's important to a community bank is critical to finding the right partners. And at the same time, we've built very in-depth relationships with our customers, sticky for lack of a better word, where they get a lot of products and services, and we don't charge a lot of free fees. So that's another way to justify that relationship model. That's, we lend, and we offer online banking services where when you call, you get a person on the phone and we dive right in and help. We'll come to see you. That's a different relationship model than what we're looking at outside of our geographic footprint, where we don't have people on the street. We don't have feet on the street. We don't have that personalized touch, but we do have our same online banking investment in strategies that we can offer now to this customer base that we've built. So we felt that the values were there in our culture. Nothing changed as far as what we're about. It made sense to us to approach it that way.
Yeah, I love that. And because you did it as a product under FVC, when the time comes, which I think we're kind of there now that we have this nice base going, to cross-sell them into the larger bank, the bank is there, right? Because you've called it Advanced Savings by FVC. So when they start getting information from FVC, it won't be a surprise, right? They're very aware of your brand. I like that a lot, because I just know that that's a tension point at a lot of executives.
Yeah, understandably. Yeah, we talked about it a lot. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's actually a question that came through a little while earlier that's talking about, what of the customers acquired, what does retention look like? Have those relationships been retained? And it sounds like yes. And as you can start to cross-sell.
Yeah, I can speak across our portfolio. We see only about 1% to 2% attrition per month. So really good customer base. So those of our banks like FVC that are interested in then deepening the relationship, we are working with different cross-sell companies and potentially digital onboarding or others where we can find out and get together with our client success. So we have client success managers that manage the relationship with FVC, and Crystal will get Trisha's goals, right? What does she want to expand them into? Is it a checking? Is it a DDA? Is it an auto loan? I mean, whatever it is. And then we can work on that because these are their customers, right? These aren't Plinqit customers. So again, that's where the model's different from Raisin. These are FVC customers. So it'll be up to Trish what she wants to do, but we will support her and bring in partners and help her with that journey. Now, again, on the flip side, we have commercial banks who the deposit is enough. So that's all they really want from them is the deposit to fund their commercial loans. And so they don't have a ton of cross-sell, plans with these folks. They're just glad that they're retaining and using them for lending. So we have a mix.
So maybe Kathleen, FVC is a success story. Have there been other brands who have maybe stumbled a little bit more? What were some of the stumbling blocks? Maybe contrast FVC's.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that we're really lucky, and now this is just sounding like a Fintel commercial, which is not our goal, friends. On the line, that was not our goal. That was not the goal. But honestly, like we did have another bank, a small community bank, and they were really focused on a brand, right? They wanted to build a brand. They are a faith-based bank, and they are proud of that. And they wanted to build a savings brand where they give back to nonprofits, and that was really important to them. And so I think similarly to Trish, they thought the message and the giving back to the nonprofit would speak for itself along with the rate, and people would just come. And so they had a similar experience where they were investing what they felt was a good amount of marketing. I probably would think is a little amount, right? But again, just a different perspective. And they weren't getting the volume, and they were calling me similar to Trish and going, hello, why are your other banks having so many deposits and we're not? And so we connected them also, I think, with you guys, and they started using affiliate marketing, and again, really just investing, right? And putting some money into what they were trying to do and to get the accounts, and now they've hit their goal as well, and they're really excited. Not all of our banks do work with Fintel, so some of our banks are doing it on their own, and doing different ways and trying to use free sites. But those are interesting, because if they're doing that, then they have to be top tier rate. So whereas Trish has dropped her rate, she's now at, I think, 3.85. The banks that are trying to just do it for free without any marketing, they're still in the 4s, right? They're still up at the highest end. So again, you're kind of trading where you're spending your basis points. Are you spending it on your interest rate, or are you spending it on marketing to get accounts?
Right. What's FVC's philosophy in that trade-off?
Well, we look at the all-in cost. I mean, that's the way we've been analyzing this. We've been looking at the deposit acquisition and what we're spending in marketing and all-in, and what we're spending with Plinqit, the all-in costs, and we're doing an analysis of, because of the way the model works, it's the acquisition that you're paying for, and then if you can maintain and grow those, it's even more. And I will tell you, while that is our next strategy, is to reach out to these customers because we have good online products to offer, that isn't even built into our model of return and what makes sense. So as long as our all-in cost is less than, say, wholesale or other options out there, because there are other options, then this makes sense. And the numbers have proven out that way. And so that's helped us drive, okay, so how much more can we invest in affiliate marketing to grow it that much more? And, you can look at the different affiliates and see which ones are most effective. You can make some good decisions because all the data is there. It's a data-driven approach. And that's the way we've looked at this. Still maintaining that community bank. We want to be a trusted site. We want to do all things right and let those customers that don't know us yet as well know more about who we are and maybe grow it. But that's not even in the analysis. That's just added profitability, really, if we're able to do that.
Yeah, I'm a really weird founder. And when I first did the ROI, so Trish was getting an ROI that was made up, right? And I told her that. I was like, I don't know. This is our best guess, right? Because it was a brand new product. And so we are thrilled that our banks that are live are all beating that, because in our original ROI, we thought you'd have to spend between 1% to 2% on marketing for acquisition. And then you'd have to spend some percent for this. And then you have our software costs. So again, we don't charge basis points. We charge software as a service. But if you translate it into basis points, which is what you would compare it with, like a raisin, we weren't sure, where we would be. And we're coming in, I think, some of our banks that are really efficient. I mean, they're moving more and more. One of our banks, their original goal was 25 million. They got that within the first 6 months. So then they changed their 12-month goal to 100. And I think they're going to pass 150 million really shortly. So again, and that's their goal, but they're also a 5 billion. So double the size of FVC. Double the size. So that's what they've decided they can allocate from a portfolio at this price. And I think they're in the 0.17 basis points. So if you think about that compared to a raisin that you're paying, basis points on every year, all in cost with marketing being 0.17 on top of the rate is pretty sweet. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
From an affiliate standpoint, what I'd say to brands when they're trying to make that decision of how to allocate your basis points, so back to, you need to have an attractive product, an attractive rate. Like we've heard earlier today, just having an attractive rate, you can't rest solely on those laurels. So you've got to strike the right balance where you've got, I'd say, I don't know, maybe you're in the top 15% of rates based on, competitors out in market, and reserving, enough funds to basically power the affiliate channel. Affiliates want, obviously, profitability, but affiliates also want to be able to market good products to their user base. So I can't speak in basis points, but I would say rule of thumb, try and be in that top 15% to find success, because I think that's also what's made the channel work so well for FVC. It's you guys did really have a strong competitive rate with a high yield savings product, which is pretty straightforward. As long as you're FDIC insured, brand, I wouldn't say brand agnostic, but product becomes really much more of a focal point than some other financial products. So being able to really have a strong rate, and then having some marketing and affiliates behind that is helpful. And
those are questions banks can ask, right? You should be asking whoever your Plinqit is that you're talking to about maybe helping you with this. What are your open to fund rates, right? Because that matters for how much marketing you're going to have to spend, right? The higher percentage of people that click and give us their email and then get all the way through to putting money in, right, matter. So, asking the questions of your partners and making sure you're picking a solution that, has an elegant process. I am still surprised, and not to call anyone out on the phone because I can't see your name, so I'm not sure if you're on the call or not, but I'm surprised how many bankers I talk to that still haven't opened an account online with their own bank, let alone another bank or a fintech.
Right.
If you're not doing that and seeing what the experience is, so you can compare to the vendors you're talking to and understand what a good experience is versus what's a crappy experience, what the friction points are, how you overcome those friction points, right? I think that you're missing out, right? And you might pick a partner that isn't as elegant or smooth, and then you'll end up having to spend some more on marketing because you're not getting as many through the funnel.
Right. Yeah, and bringing it back to the affiliate channel, having a strong conversion funnel is important. Yes, strong product. And if you have a really, really strong product that steals clicks, it's super clickbaity, everyone's interested, but they can't make it through the funnel, it's actually going to harm your success within the channel, right? Affiliates are probably going to jump up and down for the product, but long term it's not sustainable.
Right.
Affiliates want to make sure that they're giving a good home to the users that they're sending out to you, and obviously banks, you want to do right by your customers and making sure that you can get them to where they want to go.
Absolutely. I mean, you need a partner needs to make your life easier, simplify things. And for the customer, it certainly does need to be frictionless and just smooth. And that goes so far. I mean, there's other options out there. You have to be at the top of your game. It has to work the way it's supposed to work, you know. So that's incredibly important, and that's been our experience with us.
So Trish, I have a quick question, and I didn't prepare you for this question, so audience, bear with us. But so I get asked a lot, okay, so we're going to do this digital brand. How many questions are my branches going to get? Like, how many calls am I going to get about this brand? And I'm like, I don't think our banks get a lot, but I have a banker right here. So are you getting any feedback from your branches that you're getting? Yeah. So I'd love you to answer that.
No, we are not.
Okay, great. So,
and we, you know, one of the things that we did in anticipation of that possibility was communicate to all our branches, this is if you get a question, this is the product, this is what, you know, we'd like you to say, you know. So, but we haven't run into that.
Oh, that's great. Good.
So maybe let's talk about, we're talking about acquisitions. How do we make sure that they're quality acquisitions? Was there what was the strategy and to not just acquiring for the sake of acquiring, but being thoughtful in what is coming through?
Well, I mean, so we started this in January, but I would say in earnest where we really started to see deposits pick up was probably April and onward, once we made the additional investment and moved forward on Kathleen's advice. So, you know, it's still fairly new to us, but we do look at, we've adjusted rates a couple times and we haven't seen much in deposits go. And I think the true test of time will be the consistency of that deposit base. And so, and I think part of it is just the whole process. Having a partner that knows the business, that understands it, that gives you it's our due diligence, you know, doing the right due diligence on the right partner to help you do digital marketing, I think is critical. It's critical. So
yeah, I agree.
Was there any then hesitance? So you say you need to have a good partner, someone who knows your business. That seems at odds with, you know, affiliates, these folks that I don't know, they don't know me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's for those that haven't kind of jumped into haven't been indoctrinated into all things affiliates.
Right.
What might you tell them? Because
well, I mean, I think I the way I would answer that is that, you know, we left probably because we liked this alternative. We liked Plinqit. We wanted to give it a try. And so we were in it. We'd already had the infrastructure set up. We're ready to go. And to really, we needed to test it to make it work. And we got comfortable with the customer. We got comfortable with Fintel Connect. We got trust Kathleen. We got comfortable that this, and it's worked with other banks, that it can work. So we did do that. But if you really are looking at this practically, I mean, we don't have a 10-person marketing team. We have one person, and it's about our local market. So if we really want to expand, you have to rely on others. You have to find customers you can trust, affiliates you can trust to help grow that base. I mean, and these are, you know, you guys were very open in the affiliate opportunities there were. So like I said, I think the transparency of it and the model and just the math of the model. I'm a CFO. Initially, I was a CFO of this bank. So it's the real friction was spending the money. I mean, I'll be honest, at first.
Yeah, I think too, if we step away from affiliate, the other thing that makes the cost work is the lack of fraud, right? I do think that one of the things that our banks get into, at banks I see and my friends, again, I'm a former banker, is that they sign on with an online account opening or an online software, and they're not thoughtful about the product. And to your point, what type of customer they're getting and going after. And so again, I think we all went in originally an online account opening. Let's start with a DDA. It's the stickiest product. But the problem is the fraud is so high. You're giving them a debit card, you're giving them wires, you're giving them bill pay, all of these things. And it makes it more expensive too, right? And so the really nice thing about starting the way Trish and I did with a high yield savings is there is a minimum deposit to open, right? Our banks range from $500 to $1,500 as a minimum deposit balance, right? So right there, you're opting folks out who are going to just open this for a test and stick $1 in, right? Because they have to have 500. So across our client base together, across our 4 billion, we're seeing, between $40,000 and $45,000 average balances, which is great. And I think it's because of that minimum. And then I think also, again, starting and dipping your toe in with a savings account that's pretty contained is a really nice way to start, because we're just not seeing, I don't think FVC's had fraud, but if they have, I think we're at like 0.0004%. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Well, I was going to say that's very apropos, because we've got a question around, what controls do you have in place to protect against fraud? Was there a budget established for fraud tolerance? What was the strategy there?
Did you have a budget for fraud, Trish? I don't think I told you to. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't think I told you to, because again, it's a savings account. So again, anyone who wants to do a demo with us, I'll tell you all about the different things we put in place. But at Plinqit, again, because we're approaching 4 billion, we have our own compliance officer. So Trish knows we're run by bankers. We're SOC 1, we're SOC 2. We run KYC and OFAC on these folks. We have a care center that's checking things. So we do a lot of the work to make sure that happens. But then I also think by nature of the product, Trish also mentioned attrition. These are also sophisticated savers. The folks that are rate shopping online are sophisticated. So what we're finding also from a stickiness standpoint is if our banks cut along with the Fed, our savers have a lot of tolerance for that. They get it. They know when the Fed's cutting. Now, our banks that go way beyond the Fed, if the Fed cuts twice and they cut 5 times, I would say at the 5th time, people get a little fussy. But for the most part, they're following along. So those are, the things we do. And we're very thoughtful about how we've built the product. And again, not having wires and debit cards and things attached to it to minimize that expense, that side of the expense line.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I mean, the heavy lifting is not done. We're not doing the heavy lifting here. I mean, that's, we're making the investment and finding the right partners, but it's very helpful. The work that's being done by Plinqit on the back end, it's front end and back end is very helpful.
If we look ahead to 2026, what are we anticipating for any major shifts and how that might impact acquisition? We know rates are going to continue to likely drop.
Exactly.
For example, how are you seeing the world into 2026?
Well, we're pretty excited about the opportunities. Rates going down helps, our banking model. It helps improve our margins, et cetera. But it is a competitive, we expect to continue to have competition with deposit growth. I mean, that has been the name of the game forever and a day, and it'll continue into the future. So I feel like we've got a slight edge having this under our belt a little bit and having some experience with it and some level of comfort that we can, when we do our strategic planning, as we're doing right now and looking into the next year, we can factor in a marketing amount for this and get a sense of our total deposit growth. We would like to be X, and this is how much of it we would like this to be, and build that in. So we see a lot of opportunity there with our level of comfort in working with the affiliates to help expand that. And then the second leg to that is we do want to see, for the customers that we have had and that we've been able to retain, how we can reach out to them and in a safe and sound manner find ways to do other business with them. If there's an interest, we're gonna try that as well. So we'll build that into the next year. And beyond that, I mean, I will say banking as a whole, we want to continue to grow our footprint and grow our deposits in our market area. That's first and foremost, and reduce our wholesale funding reliance and partner with fintechs. I mean, we keep looking at products and services that complement what we do and how we do it, and are very easily, there's not a lot of work to connect them to what we're doing. It's just, plug and play, for lack of, is really the ease of it is incredibly important from an efficiency standpoint. And, we're pretty leanly staffed, so we want to make the most of that. And I will say, finally, one of the things, not necessarily connected to this, but maybe in some ways, AI is huge. It's a big piece of what everybody's looking at. Banks are using now and will continue to use even more, I suspect, to be competitive in the future.
Yeah, agreed. And we continue to look at ways, how will we build in AI again to keep our fraud where it's at, to know our customer even better. For us, we will be expanding the product and helping banks like Trish be able to be more dynamic in their rates, right? Can we do an introductory rate? Can we do tiered rates? Can we do CDs, right? So that's where we're going as we know things become more competitive as rates drop. The other thing we're looking at, and so if anyone on the line is interested in talking to us about it, is small business. I went and tried to open a high yield savings for my small business, and there was only one I was able to get through completely online.
Oh, wow.
Every other one, including the big banks, by the end, they said, come in and see us. And I said, no, it's a digital account. The whole point is I don't want to come in and see you. Okay. So as a small business owner, I think there's a huge opportunity there that Plinqit is going to tap into with our bank partners that I'm pretty excited about.
Very interesting.
My hypothesis is that acquisition costs are going to go up as rates drop. I guess where banks save on their basis points on the interest might become more expensive to acquire. Have you, Kathleen, is that how you see the world as well? Do you expect that same kind of
yeah, I think that can happen, but not quite yet, right? I think right now it's, if you're best in rate, you're best in rate, and there isn't that many folks playing in that space. And so I think, but again, I think that's why we want to be able to offer different options to our banks, like introductory rates and tiered rates, and again, small business, because right now for a small business, because it's way less saturated than the consumer side. If someone could give me 2.5% on a high yield that I could actually open online, I'd be happy as a clam, right? So, I think there's going to be opportunity there. And I think a lot of our banks are really interested in playing in the SMB space anyway. And so I think, they'll be more expensive to acquire, but then I think they'll be great customers for them.
Well, I think we're just about at our Q&A time. If there are any folks on the line that want to ask some questions, please do. We can sit tight for a little bit if someone's furiously typing. If not, I wish I had a knock joke to kill some time here, but
I can ask a question. Trish, do you have any idea what your next product would be that you'd sell to these folks that we have with this average balance? Because I've been thinking about that a lot lately too, because again, with an average balance of 40 grand, do they go into wealth? Is it mortgage? Is it, so I just didn't know if you had a thought of where you go with them.
Yeah. I don't. I suspect it'll be deposit related versus outside of that. We don't provide wealth management. Our bank is very much a margin bank. We don't provide wealth management services. Maybe referrals to our investment in a mortgage operation, but I think we want to look at our online banking optionality, and it's really one of the best out there, we believe, for customers, for individuals. So I think that's what we want to probably look towards initially.
Awesome.
I do have a question from the crowd, actually. So we've got someone that's asked that for Trish, that it's an interesting strategy to segment, the acquisition strategies for Plinqit versus, I think, rest of bank. One's a brand approach. I'm reading on the fly here, so bear with me. So we've got one brand and approach for local markets and a different brand and product line for the national. from the affiliate's perspective, is it a balance sheet play to limit, oh no, sorry, back to Trish. Is it a balance sheet play to limit deposit cannibalization and or intentionally not pushing national in favor of less geographic focused brand? I may have butchered that question.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it really is, that's a great question. It really, the main premise behind having these two very separate and distinct markets or brands is cannibalization for one. And really they're different. I mean, as I explained, we really do look at them differently. So it is a balance sheet play to grow, to be able to have that liquidity available and to grow our customer base, grow our core deposits in two distinct markets without having one affect the other, and treating everyone, with the best we can, and offer them everything that's available to them and provide personalized service when we get there with this out of market group. But yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. And FVC is a little different because the FVCbank is behind it. It's very much forward. The FVC logo is there. So the bank is very much a part of this advantage savings that they're promoting.
Right. We thought that was important. I mean, I think, from a trust and with all the fraud out there in the industry and out there, just period, all those bad actors, I think having that level of trust and being an FDIC, letting them know what's behind it, we thought was important. That was important to us.
Right. If there's nothing else, Kathleen, any last minute questions that you've drummed up?
No, but thank you all so
Very
much,
good.
Danielle and Trish. Thank you for your time. This was great.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining. And you should all be receiving an emailed copy of the recording as well. Thanks everybody.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.